Thank you. I'd like to now recognize my friend from California, Mr. Kiley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's been a few months now since this committee held a hearing with several university presidents that shocked the conscience of the country and opened many people's eyes to just how warped much of higher education in this country has become. And for me, one of the most jarring moments of that hearing was when President Claudine Gay of Harvard, now rightfully former president, refused to answer time and time again whether she could assure the parents of a Jewish student or a prospective Jewish student that their child would feel safe and welcome on her campus. She refused repeatedly to even answer the question, which just demonstrated very clearly that she did not understand the gravity of what was occurring on that campus. Now, here today, we've had folks on both sides of the dais, talk about how DEI bureaucracies have been indifferent and failed to adequately respond to the crisis of anti-Semitism on campus. But really, the issue goes deeper than that. It's that these very bureaucracies in many ways, are at the root of the problem. And so, Dr. Green, you have some actual evidence demonstrating that, where you've used social media to document how they are, in fact, in many ways, the source of the problem. Could you just give us those statistics again?
Sure. So we analyzed the Twitter feeds of 741 DEI staff. These were the DEI staff that we identified in our study of the 65 universities in the Power 5 athletic conferences. And what we found was that the DEI staff were obsessed with the state of Israel. 96% were critical of the state of Israel, while by comparison, they spoke about China 1/3 as often, even though China's a much bigger country. This was during the pandemic when China was in the news, but they weren't that interested in China, and they were 62% favorable towards China. And so it crosses the line into anti-Semitism because of the double standard and the obsessive criticism, and because of the vitriolic language that we found. So one could be critical of the state of Israel without crossing that line, but it's very clear they did, and did repeatedly, and this was endemic in DEI staff.
So the very people that are hired to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, to make students feel safe and welcome, are in fact using their social media accounts to promote anti-Semitism. It's really goes to show you that these have become Orwellian institutions in the truest sense of that term. And when you think about what it tells us about the broader culture of our universities, I mean, our universities are supposed to be promoting progress, not in a partisan sense, but to be at the leading edge of new ideas. And here they are investing in these bureaucracies, tens of millions of dollars, that are leading a 21st century American resurgence of one of the world's oldest and most retrograde prejudices, which was at the root of the greatest crime in the history of the world. And I think we have to ask ourselves, how has this been allowed to happen? And it's happening alongside many other things happening at universities, where they're rejecting the very premise of the Enlightenment. They're saying we shouldn't have free speech anymore. We shouldn't allow the free exchange of ideas. We shouldn't have academic freedom. We should reject the very idea of merit. And so my question for you, Dr. Green, or for anyone, is how did this happen? How did our universities get to this point? And it's not just limited to universities, because for better or worse, university culture tends to, incubate changes in broader society. And so we've seen a lot of things that started at universities have now become problems more broadly in American life. How did we get to this point, and how do we go about fixing it to get universities back to their core purpose?
So thanks for the question. I'll answer quickly because I want to leave time for others who, this is kind of a warmed over Marxism that made its way into our institutions. That's basically what it is. Good thinking liberals and institutions opened the door to these Marxists who came in and then closed the door behind them, and now they're purging out the liberals. We have to dismantle DEI. We have to starve universities of funds that fuel this nonsense. Those would be the first things I'd recommend. But I think Dr. Smith and Dr. Goldfarb would have useful things to add as well.
First of all, we need to audit these DEI programs, and not just the offices, but faculty as well, who are abiding by this ideology. We need people to see what's going on. And if people deny being audited, that should be a sign that there's something they're hiding. My time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. I yield back.